200,000 subscribers. I never thought I would get here so quickly. This has been one of the craziest years of my life. Because in June, I was at 1,000 subscribers, and now I'm here. And truly, it's all thanks to you guys, who've been supporting me along the way. Which is why when one of my Mad Lad subs asked me to do a Q&A for my 200k special, I thought it was the best opportunity to learn more about me behind my PNG. So just like Sonic in every Sonic game, let's run it. So first question, what's my overall opinion on Deku, and does he serve his purpose well in MHA? Now, I'll put it bluntly, I'm not the biggest fan of Deku. And it's not because he's a crybaby, although it doesn't really help his case. The reason I dislike Deku is because of the type of character that he is. He's basically a moral Jesus. Everything he does is ethically correct. Deku is always right, he's never wrong, and I don't like that approach to a protagonist, and that's because it's completely unrelatable. I like a protagonist that makes mistakes, who's constantly in the moral gray, and you don't know if you can root for them throughout their character journey. Because that's what makes a truly human three-dimensional character. Which is why I like characters like Guts, Ayanokoji, Lelouch, and Light. But I will say, he does serve his purpose well in the MHA narrative, so I won't knock him for that. Can I rank my Straw Hats or do a top 5 or top 3? Sure, I'll do that. Now, for the most part, every Straw Hat is on a relatively equal playing field. But my least favorite is Chopper. Then it goes Frankie, Jinbei, Brook, Nami, then Robin. And then my top 4 is Usopp, Zorro, Luffy, and Sanji. But all in all, the Straw Hats are probably the best main cast of all time. Who has the best transformations in the big 3? And Eisen or Yuha? If we're talking about the culmination of transformations, then that goes to Ichigo for sure. They're extremely badass, and they're also quite symbolic of his mindset. Because Ichigo's whole character journey is about self-acceptance and balance. In order to save everyone, he first has to save himself. But the best transformation in the entirety of the big 3 is Gear 5. Who's my favorite member of the Gote and my favorite power system? So from the current Gote, I give it to Kenpachi and Kurotsuchi. They're just crazy, and I love it. From the previous Gote, Eisen and Kisuke. But honestly, most of the captains are really awesome. Now for my favorite power system, there's 2, Stans and Nen. But an honorable mention to the Jin-equipped power system and Magoi from Magi. What was my first anime, and how did it affect my life moving forward? Well, I grew up surrounded by anime. Pokemon, Beyblade, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, even Dragon Ball. But the first anime that truly impacted my life was Naruto. And simply put, Naruto taught me to believe in myself when no one else did. It very much set the foundation of my young life, because I too wanted to be acknowledged and respected as someone great. Naruto gave me that mindset to dream and never give up, and that's why it's one of the GOATs. What's my favorite anime in the big 3? Well, if it wasn't obvious already by my content, it's One Piece. One Piece changed my life. I was probably at the lowest point in my life when I watched One Piece, and it gave me exactly what I needed. The ability to dream a dream. And when I saw Luffy and the Straw Hats fighting for their life and their dreams, it inspired me. I thought if they could do it, so could I. Naruto set the foundation, and One Piece built upon it. It's the culmination of these 2 anime, which is why I probably became a content creator. What are the chances of Kaido awakening his devil fruit? Alright, time for a little theory. I think it's very likely because I believe Kaido and Big Mom are still alive. I thought it was curious that in the Wano War arc, we saw all these crazy devil fruit awakenings, but not one from Kaido or Big Mom. And they were Yonko. If they have S-tier hockey, they should have S-tier devil fruit mastery as well. And so my guess is while their bodies are submerged in the lava, it will be that extreme situation that causes them to push past their limits. Because the only way I see them making it out alive is if they awaken their devil fruits. What anime do I consider underrated and more people should watch? Well, from this current year, I'm putting up Tomodachi Game. Great plot, great premise, and the main character is awesome. The other one I would recommend is 86. It's an emotional roller coaster, but wow, it's worth it. What's the best form of combat in Naruto? taijutsu, ninjutsu, or genjutsu. This goes to taijutsu, but only specific forms. Rock Lee's Drunken Fist and Kakashi's 1000 Years of Death. They're just based and I love it. Who's my inspiration in the YouTuber game? Ah, what a fantastic question. It's Nuxtaku. Daddy Nux's anime analysis videos greatly influenced my content. I saw how he deconstructed anime and manga, and it allowed me to view my favorite stories from a completely different perspective. I really think that Nux was the driving force behind the style of content that I make today. And so Nux, if you happen to see this video by chance, I just want to say thank you. What genre of anime do I like the most? Great question, and I'm probably leaning more towards dark fantasy, which is why I'm a massive fan of Berserk. But admittedly, I have a guilty pleasure for rom-coms. How is Eisen a better antagonist than Madara? Alright, I'll put it simply. Eisen had a great conclusion, Madara did not. Eisen and Madara are both S-tier characters, and the introduction of who they are completely matches that aspect. They are characters who completely embody the presence that they give off. And all that went down the drain when Madara got stabbed in the back by Zetsu. It was the worst way to take out an amazing character. Behind everything, the writing was bad and the execution was even worse. And I think a character's conclusion is the most important aspect of who they are, which is why Madara drops down from S tier to A tier for me. Do I think Zeref is an underrated villain? Completely, and Zeref is actually in my top 10 villains. The whole element of his contradiction is fascinating. The way it's tackled and executed is even better. I find myself hating Zeref, rooting for Zeref, and also feeling empathy for his situation. And yeah, despite its success, Fairy Tail is pretty underrated, which is why I'm very much looking forward to the adaptation of the Century Quest. Next, why do I rate Sanji higher than Zorro? Well, to be honest, Luffy, Sanji, and Zorro are relatively equivalent to one another. I just like what Sanji brings to the table more. While Zorro is confident in who he is, his path, and his ambition, Sanji isn't. Sanji is constantly doubting himself and his value towards the rest of the Straw Hats. He's trying to find the balance within the kindness of his humanity and the monster within himself as the Prince of Germa. I find those qualities far more relatable and realistic. Who's my favorite anime character, manga character, and anime manga character? The answer to all three is the same. It's Kiyotaka Ainakoji from Classroom of the Elite. I've made so much content on the guy, and I love everything about his character. Perhaps in the new year, I'll make another video explaining why. Who was the MVP at Marineford? I know the most common answer is Whitebeard, and that's a pretty good take. But the best answer is Buggy. A war's going on, everyone's dying, and Buggy starts vlogging it. And in that same capacity, starts marketing himself. Like, what an absolute legend. Buggy was literally the first One Piece content creator, and that's just borderline inspiring. What's my opinion on Boruto? Oh, this should be a good one. The anime is straight dog water, but the manga isn't actually that bad, and Kawaki is definitely an S tier character. With that being said, there's hundreds of other anime and manga that I would recommend over Boruto. I saw a couple questions out there. How do I make content? How do I come up with video ideas and everything in between? So I'll put it simply. Since I started making content, I have not taken a day off. The only reason I'm here today is because every day I wake up and I work. There's no room for doubts and questions. You work until you get where you want to be. In a year and a half of starting content creation, this is how far I've come. If I can do it, so can you. And for the last question, how are you? And I'm doing amazing. Because every day that I get to live out my dream is the greatest feeling in the world. And I never thought that I would get where I am today. I'm eternally grateful for the opportunity that I've been presented, and I promise that I'll live it up for you guys. Now, I know I was unable to get through every question, but despite that fact, I appreciate your time, thoughts, and consideration. This is just the beginning. Remember, like, comment, sub, and I'll catch you later, guys. Have a good one.